Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Welcome back if you are already a subscriber to the channel. And if you are new to the channel, then welcome, enjoy the video. And if you like it, then do click subscribe. And also all of you guys like the video. But we have serious things to talk about here. We'll get to the Juan Jesus versus Acerbi case later on in the video, but because we've been away from each other for roughly 2 weeks, let's just go over exactly what's happened outside of that. So first of all, congratulations to everybody that qualified to Euro 2024 this week. That includes both Zielinski and Kvara. Kvara with a historic qualification for Georgia. So congrats to all the Georgian fans out there. I know there's many of you watching this channel, and it's great to see a nation improve so drastically over the last few years, and I'm sure they've still got a lot more to conquer, and they could be a dark horse in this competition. I'm excited to see them play. Unfortunately, Kvara had to go off injured in the second half of extra time with a bit of a thigh problem. So let's see how serious that is. It seemed as though, everything was fine because there was a video of him dancing in the dressing room with his Georgia teammates. But when he did the exams in Naples, it showed that there is a bit of an injury on his left thigh. He did do personalized training. And so he didn't train with the group. So let's see if he will be available against Atalanta. I think he will be available. I think he might come on in the second half if we have the need to, if the score is not in our favor. But I do expect someone else to start, whether that will be Lindstrom, whether that could be either Raspadori or Engonge on the left. It could even be Traore if Cayuste is playing in the midfield. There's a lot of options out there on the left wing, but deep down I really hope to see Lindström, not necessarily because I think he's better than the other players. In fact, he's the one that has the most to prove, and that's exactly why I want him to start. It's literally the one chance he might have in his Napoli season so far to start from the first minute against a good team. We're playing against Atalanta. This is his chance to show Napoli and the fans if he really has what it takes. With regards to other injuries, we've got Osimhen, who's recovering from an injury, but I do think that he will be starting against Atalanta because he did do the full training with the team recently. Now, I want to talk about something else that happened this week, which is that Napoli released a new fourth shirt of the year. Now, this shirt is inspired by our main sponsor, MSC Cruises, which I think a lot of you guys know, but maybe not. They are one of the biggest cruise companies in the world, and they happen to have not the headquarters in Naples, probably not. I mean, for fiscal reasons, it's probably somewhere like Dubai, but they are Napoli-born company. Probably the biggest Napoli-born company in the world right now. They make something like almost $70,000 per minute. I mean, they've got an amazing business operation with both commercial transportation of goods, shipments, but also their people-oriented cruises. And they have 4 main hubs: Dubai, Copenhagen, Miami, and Napoli. And the whole "From Napoli to the World" hashtag that we launched this year, I think does have a lot to do with MSC being our sponsor. They're a global company connecting places and people around the world, but they've even adopted an entire t-shirt that honors MSC as a sponsor. And that kind of collaboration, I think, is very interesting because there's not a lot of clubs out there that really have that strong partnership and such a deep partnership with their main sponsor. About the shirt, I personally love it. I think it's very nice to have the 4 ports of MSC, the 4 main ports shown there, all interconnected. I love the sort of sand color that the shirt has. I think it's a very nice touch and makes sense to use that color. And I love the collar. The collar design, it's something new I haven't seen before on a Napoli shirt. It's not really out there at the moment in other shirts from other clubs. So very creative. I love what they're doing. on that side of the club. Now, let's get to the serious topic of the conversation, which is Juan Jesus, not necessarily versus Acerbi. I mean, it's not a personal thing, Juan Jesus versus Acerbi. This is something, or even about Napoli versus Inter. This is something much bigger. This is about a very sensitive topic. And let's start with the good news, okay? The good news is that over the last 10 days or so, I've seen the majority of Inter fans put their club to the side, and they have been very good at backing Juan Jesus. Now, let's go to the bad things. First of all, let's go over what happened. So, Juan Jesus goes to the referee during the game and points out to the referee that Acerbi called him a racial slur. Okay? Now, at that point, the referee calls over Acerbi, and then Juan Jesus and Acerbi themselves have a bit of a discussion where Acerbi apologizes to Juan Jesus, and you see him pointing to guys like Thuram, kind of, that classic excuse saying, oh, but look at me, I can't be racist, I have friends that show that it's otherwise. But that's a very weak excuse. The problem that apparently they had was that they didn't have enough proof, apparently, to charge Acerbi. I guess that's kind of how our society's been based on, right? It's innocent until proven guilty. Because what if he didn't say that? Then it would be super unfair. But in my opinion, there is enough evidence to say that Acerbi did say those things. Because, look, I don't think Juan Jesus could have made something up like that on the spot. He definitely did not mishear Acerbi, because he's been in Italy now for 10 years, speaks Italian very well, and the version that Acerbi says, it's something that he only mentioned the day after, but for the first 24 hours, he was apologizing to Juan Jesus and didn't release any statements. And then it's almost as if he took 24 hours to come up with an excuse, to come up with, oh, actually, I said this and you misheard that. And then, that's the story that he went with. But if he really did say what he says he says, which is ti faccio nero, which is, I'll beat you up until your face is black, from bruises, if he really did say that, then why not say that to the referee in the first place? Then it would have been very clear from the start that that's what he meant, because it's very hard to make something like that up on the spot. And the referee at this point, I think, made a mistake not writing everything down, because he should have written down exactly what Juan Jesus declared, and then he should have asked Acerbi, what exactly did you say to Juan Jesus? And then it was at that point that Acerbi would have had to, on the spot, reply to the referee and give his quote. And then this quote would have been given to the authorities. And if Acerbi, from the very start, said a consistent story, then maybe you could say, okay, fine, that's kind of hard to make it up on the spot, something else. But from the very first moment, Acerbi did not have that same story, and the referee did not jot down what Acerbi said in his report. So it gave Acerbi 24 hours to kind of come up with something else and bring that to the lawyers and the sporting justice. And they obviously at that point thought that there's not enough evidence, which for me, by the way, is kind of crazy, because how can you not have enough evidence in a day and age where there are so many cameras, where every little pull of the shirt or foul on a player or a handball or anything that happens in the box is so scrutinized by so many cameras? And now all of a sudden at the San Siro, one of the biggest stadiums in the world, which is supposed to have 1 million different cameras, all of a sudden we can't find the instance that Acerbi says something to Juan Jesus. For me, that's kind of crazy. I wonder where that piece of evidence is. But I think the worst part of this whole story is that, the Football Association president goes out and says that he believes Acerbi and that he will give him a hug when he sees him. That for me is kind of crazy, because there is apparently not enough evidence for the Italian FA to choose whether to convict Acerbi or not. So if there's such a lack of evidence, why are you choosing to believe one side or the other? And why would you say that you would give him a hug? He's innocent, not because they proved he's innocent, but because there's not enough evidence. I mean, would you want to give someone like that a hug when you know that there's maybe a 50% chance that he is actually guilty of doing what he is accused of? It's not like he was acquitted because there was evidence in his favor. There was just not enough evidence against him, which are two very different things. I cannot believe that he said something like that. And I cannot believe that his first thought was to go and feel sorry for Acerbi, whereas he never said anything like that towards Juan Jesus. A much better statement would have been, I'm going to give Juan Jesus a hug because of how this whole situation made him feel. Unfortunately, us as the Football Federation, we didn't have enough evidence to convict Acerbi, but I want to give a hug to the person that feels that they received racial abuse. Not to the guy that apparently, said something racist and they just can't find enough evidence to prove it. I mean, it's the whole world gone backwards, guys. So yeah, that is just my personal view on the situation. As I said, at least I'm glad to see that Inter fans, most of them agree with me on this. Anyways, guys, we have this game coming up against Atalanta. It is crucial that we do manage to get a win, and Napoli apparently will enter the field with their own stand against racism. Maybe they put their own personalized patch against racism, and they will not take part in the ones organized by the Serie A because they just don't think that that's a credible institution anymore. Anyways, guys, that is everything from me. Smash the like button if you like this video. Let me know your thoughts below on the whole situation, and apologies for not coming out earlier with a video on this, but it's been a crazy 10 days where I had family over, I graduated, I started work this week, so do apologize for that, but we will see each other tomorrow for the Atalanta game. Ciao.